Do you believe me?
If I told you your donations can help refugee farmers in Palestine, children in the Gambia, and villagers in Pakistan, would you donate more?
When the world needs your support now more than ever, why just tell you about the impact of your donation when we can show you for ourselves?
Our mission is to eradicate cyclical poverty around the world and empower local communities to create change, meaningful change.
Join us in creating a lasting change that can impact generations to come.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all so much for joining me for our fourth and final Panoplia USA Gala. My name is Yasmin Elhady. I'll be the host for the evening. I'm a lawyer. I'm a relationship consultant. I'm a comedian. You can find me on Instagram at YasGuru. And I'm also a very proud founding board member of Panoplia USA. And I used to be the chair of the board before I stepped down to lead a very busy life with 2 little kids. And to allow for great leadership to come forward. So tonight is about healing humanity, and that's why we're all here. Thank you so much for joining me at home. I know you could be watching so many other different live feeds, but I'm so happy that you're here to really help us move forward in thinking about how we really solve this healthcare crisis that we have both domestically and globally. So tonight we're going to be speaking and hearing a lot about the work that Panoplia USA is doing in different parts of the country, as well as in Burundi, Somalia. Sorry, my son just walked in. Give me just a second. Burundi, Somalia, Palestine, and Bangladesh. And it's all about basically helping these hospitals build capacity to be able to serve the most vulnerable populations. You'll be hearing about the Rohingya refugee population, for example, in Bangladesh, who are being served in these hospitals, as well as the only neonatal unit in all of Palestine in the hospital, Maqasid Hospital there, that we are supporting. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and kick off the night with the right thing. Inshallah, the Qur'an. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Ala Allah. We are so excited to have Faisal Latif here, who is an internationally renowned Quranic reciter, nasheed artist, poet, and an all-around wonderful guy. And so I'm going to kick it to him now to start us from, inshallah, Surah Al-Insan, a reading, so that we can kick off our night the correct way.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hi, how are you, Faisal?
Alhamdulillah, how you doing?
I'm okay. Tonight's kind of crazy. Iftar was nuts. We tried to put people to sleep, it didn't work. One of them just walked in. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I saw you holding him back like this.
I was like, seriously, don't get on screen.
Alhamdulillah. All right.
We're excited to hear from you.
Bismillah, let's do it. So I'm going to be reciting, inshallah, Suratul Insan, and the translation for the surah will be available on your screen, so you can follow along as I recite, inshallah. Here we go. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما إما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر وإستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا لهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما صدق الله العظيم. جزاكم الله خيرا for listening.
Jazakum Allah khair. Sadaqallah al-Aliyyil al-Azim. Very beautiful, Faisal. Really excited to continue to hear from you, inshallah, later on in the night with some of your original work and your nasheed.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Okay. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
See you shortly. So, tonight is really about making sure that those who are most vulnerable have access to a basic human right, and that's healthcare. And that's what Heal Humanity is about. At the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a Donate Today button. It's in green. It says pausa.org/heal for those of us who are watching this on Facebook Live or who are streaming it on the other service. And you're going to see this contribute box come up just to remind you of, inshallah, why we're here and how important it is for us to have access to this life-saving work through your donations. Without you, this doesn't work. And so we hope that we keep your attention. I'm going to try to keep the night moving along quickly because I know that on the West Coast, you guys have not eaten yet. So I know that I am standing between you and your delicious samosas. So I am going to try to keep this short. I'm going to move on to speak with our CEO of Pen Appeal USA, that's Usama Mezwi, who I absolutely respect and revere. He's somebody who has led the entire organization through its ups and downs and has built it to what it is today to be able to hopefully build capacity for people who are most in need. Thank you for joining us, Usama.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Yasmin?
I'm okay.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
How was it?
It was full of dishes, it was a Mother's Day full of serving.
Sure Haider stepped up to do the dishes today.
He's doing his master's in IT, so he had a project due today.
Okay.
Mostly me doing all the work today, but I got a card.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And they made it. They made the card, so that was nice. They made it together.
How's the energy? So we've passed the halfway line.
Yes.
17 today.
Yeah, Ramadan, man. So here's the beautiful thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the entire month so full of blessing, but it's those last 10 that you have to focus on. So the hope is that we get the final wind, the last wind here.
Inshallah. I mean, already this is for those who've maybe not joined us before, this is the fourth and final webinar. So it's flown by.
It's flown by, and we really need people's support, and we hope that they can stick around and give even something small because it makes a really big difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep this relatively short and sweet today. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. If you're on the East Coast, I hope, inshallah, you had a fantastic iftar. If you're on the West Coast, you don't have too long to go. I'm really, really excited this evening to be joined by Imam Khalid Latif. Before I talk a little bit about Imam Khalid, I do encourage maybe those of you who've logged in this evening, who are watching us live, and perhaps you haven't seen some of our previous webinars, to actually go on our Facebook page, just Penny Appeal USA on Facebook, and actually check out some of the previous webinars. Yesterday, we were joined by Abdurrahman Murphy, Ustad Abdurrahman Murphy, who really delivered a very, very emotional, powerful reminder about the link between sadaqah, which is what we think of commonly as charity, giving sadaqah, giving to charity, and sidq, the idea of truth. and a very powerful connection that moved many of us. And so I do encourage you to go back and to listen to that. Last week, we were joined by Dr. Abdullah Sayyid, who gave us a fantastic overview and connected some of the issues faced in his state, the state of Michigan, with some of the national and then international issues that we are exploring with regards to access to universal healthcare, the lack of infrastructure, poor economic choices made, poor political policies, and did a great job of connecting all of that. So last week, we had Dr. Abdullah Sayyid, so you can again watch that on our Facebook. And then finally, we also were joined by Ustad Hisham Mahmood, who as ever kind of delivered a very strong, powerful reminder to us, again, around the power of giving, but also the power of Ramadan, the opportunity of Ramadan. And so again, I do encourage everybody to check out previous webinars. Like Yasmin said, we are joining, gathering this evening for our program called Heal Humanity, which is essentially about giving people and communities access to a fundamental right, which is the right to healthcare, the right to see healthcare professionals and to receive healthcare services. And that's what Heal Humanity is about. Before I say anything more, I do want to say a massive thank you to Imam Khalid Latif. Since COVID-19, this pandemic really launched, we've been working so very closely with Imam Khalid and the IC NYU, and himself and his team have really played a phenomenal role in our campaign to date. And so for myself, on behalf of everybody at Penny Appeal, we really want to thank Imam Khalid for his efforts. He's taken on so much since the pandemic has the outbreak. New York is one of the worst affected areas, as we know. And despite that, he's given himself his time, his energy, his network, his connections to so many different causes, so many different initiatives. We started off working on a national campaign, so Penny Appeal USA with the IC NYU and Celebrate Mercy. Together, we raised over $500,000. That's over $500,000 that has gone straight into the hands of Americans of all faiths, of all backgrounds, nationwide. We were amongst the first to deliver assistance in the form of cash assistance to families in need. And Imam Khalid played a real pivotal role in that. The second campaign was PPE, protective personal equipment. And alhamdulillah, with his help, we were able to deliver masks to hospitals in need. And finally, we're currently working on a project which is specific to NYC, New York City and surrounding communities. And alhamdulillah, again, I think we're very close to the $500,000 point where we are providing families in need with cash assistance so that they can pay for their utility bills, their rent, their medication, essential transportation, etc. So I just wanted to thank Imam Khalid before I talk a little bit about Heal Humanity. When we talk about eradicating poverty as an organization, Penny Appeal USA, our mission, our vision is about eradicating poverty. It's very hard to do that if you have unhealthy individuals or unhealthy communities. Think about this. There's no way that you are going to take advantage of any, for example, education opportunities or any work opportunities if you are physically unwell. So we can invest heavily in education, we can invest heavily in work opportunities, economic undertakings, but none of that really matters if we have unhealthy individuals, if we have unhealthy communities. And that's why a cornerstone of tackling poverty, of eradicating poverty, is providing communities with access to healthcare. Now, those of you who perhaps have logged in before have heard me talk about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. And number 3 is around wellness, right? And at the cornerstone of wellness is trying to make sure that we have universal healthcare coverage for everybody, regardless of where you live and regardless of your ability to pay. And that's what Heal Humanity is essentially about. We have, in the last year, for example, have built hospital facilities in Somalia. We've helped build clinics in Burundi. We've provided medical equipment to Sudan. We're working in collaboration, as Yasmin said, with the Maqasid Hospital in Palestine, where we're working to expand the only neonatal unit available to Palestinians. In Syria right now, we are working in northern Syria, in Aleppo, in 8 or 9 various hospitals and healthcare facilities, helping them with testing equipment, PPE equipment. We've been working in Bangladesh for the last few years, helping Rohingya refugees with access to primary healthcare facilities so that they're able to see doctors when they need. This is just some of the work that we're doing. We're also providing essential healthcare access in Uganda, in Mozambique, in Yemen, and many other localities. Tonight, we're encouraging you to support this program. As Yasmin said, you can find out more by going to pausa.org/heal. Fundamentally, you cannot get yourself out of the cycle of poverty if you are unwell. So Heal Humanity was essentially fundamentally important before COVID-19. Think about how much more important it is today in the world of COVID-19. Think about the lack of infrastructure that many of the developing nations have and what it would mean for them, God forbid, if this pandemic was to spread, how would they respond? And that's why for now, a lot of our work around Heal Humanity is about preventing the spread of the disease. It's about resilience. If we, in the countries where we're operating, in Uganda and Mozambique and Palestine and Syria and Pakistan and elsewhere in South Africa, if we can help ensure that we stop the spread of COVID-19, that's the most important thing we can do. Because we know, God forbid, if we were to see the rates increase in some parts of sub-Saharan Africa, as we've seen them in the Western world, the infrastructure, the healthcare professionals, the healthcare services simply are not there to be able to cope with the demand. I gave a few statistics yesterday that are quite shocking, and I want to repeat some of them this evening. 10 sub-Saharan Africans actually have 0 ventilators. Think about that. If, God forbid, a outbreak of COVID-19 was to break out in Somalia, there are no ventilators in Somalia. Think about a massive nation, a powerhouse like Nigeria, where there are less than 500 ventilators for a population of nearly, I believe, 200 million individuals. The Central African Republic, a population of over 5 million people, one of the poorest nations in the world, has 3 ventilators recorded in the country. South Sudan, a population of 11 million, they have 5 vice presidents, but only 4 ventilators. The point I'm making here is that even pre-COVID, there is a massive lack of infrastructure in many of the countries where we work. Heal Humanity, this program tonight that we are looking to raise awareness for and to raise money for, is about connecting individuals and communities with access to healthcare professionals, with access to healthcare services. And that work has become even more essential today in the age of COVID-19. Okay, and that's what Heal Humanity is about. Any money we raise this evening is going to Palestine, where we are working not just in the Maqasid Hospital, working to expand the neonatal unit, but also working in Gaza, working with the Ministry of Health there to help the prevention of the pandemic, to help with access to testing equipment and PPE. Again, we're working in refugee camps inside and outside of Syria with Syrian refugees and IDPs, internally displaced people, training them on hygiene. How do the children wash their hands? How do they protect themselves from the spread of this disease? And think about what that means, right? When we talk about spreading or preventing the spread of the disease, many of us perhaps are sitting at home in the United States this evening. We socially isolate, we do social distancing, we wash our hands thoroughly if we come back from shopping or grocery shopping. But what does that look like if you live in a crowded refugee camp where there is limited access to clean water, right? Some of the challenges. Think about if you are a pregnant woman in one of these refugee camps. Think about if you're an IDP, an internally displaced person, forced out of your home because of war, because of climate change. What does it mean then to be a pregnant mother going through pregnancy, having to deliver, where there is no infrastructure, where there is no services, right? And so what we're talking about is a fundamental failings, a lack of healthcare access, which existed already, compounded by COVID-19. And so we are working on some long-term programs. Like I said, there are projects in Burundi, in Somalia that are ongoing, in Palestine. These are ongoing health programs. Our work in Bangladesh with the Rohingya community there, that's ongoing, multi-year program providing people access to healthcare. But we are also responding internationally in these nations with COVID-19 response. And so this evening, I do encourage everybody to please visit the website, pausa.org/heal, pausa.org/heal. For those of you perhaps who are uncomfortable making a donation online, you can call the office and speak to one of our team members. You can call 202-851-2112. That's 202-851-2112. And our phone center, our call center is open every day until midnight, the East Coast time. And so those of you who maybe want to ask questions about our programs, you want to know a little bit more about the options that we have, pick up the phone, talk to our team, 202-851-2112. I'm going to wrap it up there. I know that Imam Khalid is going to deliver a far more, I think, powerful reminder to us all about the importance of this work. And I'm really excited to hear from Imam Khalid. And so, Yasmin, I think we'll leave it there for this evening.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody, for logging in, for joining us. Please do watch some of those previous webinars, like I've said.
Yeah.
We are coming up, like Yasmin said, now to the powerful 10 last nights of Ramadan. And I know a lot of people sit on their zakat, they sit on their sadaqah with the intention of making donations in the last 10 nights. And that's completely understandable. But the reality is that the need is imminent. We are talking about healthcare programs that save lives at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. And so 3, 4, 5, 6 days may not make a lot of difference to us. For somebody waiting on healthcare services, that makes a world of difference. So I encourage everybody watching this evening to please do donate generously. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Thank you so much, Usama, for your leadership and for your excellent words and a beautiful reminder about all the different facets that Penny Appeal USA is thinking about when it's trying to break intergenerational poverty and to alleviate the suffering that people have from cyclical poverty by giving people an empowered way forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin.
And, like Usama said, it's so important for us to remember that the days might not seem like they're a big issue for you, but for someone who is seeking medical attention, it's a matter of sometimes hours that they need the support, they need the help, and your contributions can help save someone's life. And the beautiful thing is that the Qur'an says to us in Surah An-Nisa in Ayah 85, "Man yashfa' shafa'atan hasana fayakuna lahu nasiban minha. Man yashfa' shafa'atan hasana yakuna lahu nasiban minha." It means that somebody who intercedes in a good cause, someone who intercedes in a worthy and good cause, then Allah has apportioned a reward, the same reward that the cause creates for the person himself or herself. Meaning that when you do something and intercede in someone's affairs that really need it, every good thing that they do, every reward that they ever will see from that life-saving intervention will come back to you. And we hope that will weigh very heavy for all of us on our scales when we're thinking about the final day when there will be no shade but God's shade, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's shade. I'm really excited to introduce you guys our next speaker. He is a brand ambassador for Pen Appeal USA. He's a comedian. He's someone who's a wonderful person. His name is Aman Ali, and he is somebody who's from Ohio but has been living in New York. And I'm so excited to be hearing from him. Hey, Aman, salam.
Walaikum salam. What's happening?
How are you? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know it's been a minute. And then I wanted to give salams to Osama in his wrinkled suit earlier. But it's okay. He's at home. Even though there's an iron probably in the other room, that's fine. But how are you?
Yeah. How did you notice the wrinkled suit? That's amazing.
How did you not? Like, it was all over the place. But
because my dad is like super wrinkled, but it's a look. It's a look.
Do you even remember how to like put on hijab? Like, I'm just fascinated by this. Like, it's been
very good point. I don't even know how I'm living right now. I forgot how to.
Do you just like, is it just Scotch tape? Is that how it works?
It's Velcro.
Oh, nice. Are those real books behind you?
Those are real books that we actually read.
Okay, read to your kids or actually?
No, that I read.
Oh,
I like to
look
read
at
about
you.
neuroscience. Yeah, you look like you're in a Stark jail cell, but I am. You look like the FBI has caught you and you're in interrogation. I look like I have the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here. That's what, you know what I mean?
Okay, I can't mess with that flex.
I am so excited to hear about your amazing trips that you took to the Gambia, that you took to Palestine. I've seen you in the videos. I want to hear about how that has been just transformative for you, and why, when you saw with your own very eyes what people's donations can do, why you think that's important for you to share with our audience who may be kind of on the fence or uncertain about whether they should donate today.
Absolutely. And alhamdulillah, thank you for having me, and it's an honor and pleasure. And one of the reasons why I want to come on today was, talk a little bit about those experiences, because I don't work for Penny Appeal. I have love for anybody doing good work in this world, and there's amazing organizations that are doing that. But there was one particular moment. This was Penny Appeal. They took a bunch of artists and other influencers to Gambia.
Yeah.
And I remember we were there, we're trying to find out what's happening, and we're learning about it. And there was all these like cute kids like running around.
Yeah.
And, people were like taking pictures with the kids. And one of the Penny Appeal organizers was like, don't do that. And I was like, but they're cute kids. Like, why can't I like pick one up and like take a picture? It's like, no, that's too exploitive, because we got to be careful of the image that we send. We don't want let people in Gambia to seem feeble or weak or emaciated or anything like that. And so just that thought process is what they went into it. And so when you support Penny Appeal, it's actually an investment that you're giving to people, and you're helping uplift people. What I love about Penny Appeal, they don't, and again, I'm not saying other organizations do this, but what Penny Appeal, what they don't do is parachute into a community, drop off a bunch of food baskets and leave. Like, they are invested in these communities, and they sincerely care about their growth. This isn't about brochures or fundraisers or anything like that. They really care about that growth. And I was just really amazed by even little things like, oh, don't take those pictures. Don't do this, don't do that. It's just that kind of care and concern. Even those little things, they really do pay attention to details. And the great thing about Penny Appeal is they're fully transparent. You want to know where your money's going? Pick up the phone and ask. Say, hey, can I see your latest expenses for the past month? They'll show it to you if you want.
Yeah.
Because what I did was I went there and I wanted to help support every way that I could. And my friends were asking me questions about it. So I called Penny Appeal. I'm like, hey, somebody wants to know about your operating budget. Literally within an hour, somebody sent me a spreadsheet. I forwarded that person. Look, these are all their expenses. They had receipts. They had Osama's dry cleaning bill. Okay, maybe not. But they had like all these things. And so they're fully transparent. And that's what I really, really like about it. Again, it's not to say that other organizations don't do that. But it's one of the reasons I really love Penny Appeals. And I know it sounds cheesy, but literally every penny you give goes towards the people that need it.
And it makes a huge difference. And it sounds like it's empowering. What you're talking about, kind of uplifting people, is empowering. There aren't pictures or images or even an attempt to sort of sell an idea of people who are feeble or, like you said, emaciated or not full of joy and life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're not just helping people, they're building communities. And when I was in Gambia, we saw all these like incredible, these little like farming communities that they help build, where all these women that are running these farming communities, and they're now able to take these wells, irrigate crops, and now they've run successful businesses. These are women that were obviously bosses well before Penny Appeal came in the picture, but now they're like entrepreneurs.
They have a side.
And that's really, like I'm still sleeping on a futon, and they're like running businesses. Like, it's amazing what they're doing. And so you're not just helping people in need, you're building communities. And that's what Penny Appeal does. And I think, and those are the things I really like about it, because I know these are really stressful times, right? COVID-19, we're all being impacted by it. We're all trimming our budgets. But literally, like, every dollar matters. Even if you give $1, it's going to go a long way. And I can attest to that. Like, their budgets are super nimble, and what they're able to do, even just a small amount, is absolutely incredible. They don't care about these lavish, tent poles, whatever. They are there to build programs and to build communities. This isn't just about, you're not giving money to bricks and cement, you're investing in people. And I can't emphasize that enough. And again, if you have any questions about where any of your money is going, honestly, go call them, email them, they'll get back to you. They'll share whatever information you want.
Yeah, and our phone number, if for people who are looking for 202-851-2112. And you can call. Osama said it, but I just want to kind of reiterate it because Aman, you're absolutely right. I think transparency is something that people are concerned about. They don't know, what's the operating budget or what's the overhead cost or what's actually, where's this money actually going? Well, you can get a report and it'll come straight to you via email, and you'll be able to see where your life-saving support is going.
Absolutely, 100%. I can't emphasize that enough. And literally, like, even $1, right?
Yeah.
And I know people just say, oh, even $1. No, literally, even $1. And I promise you, like, it'll be the best thing you will do today is even giving a small amount. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, and it could be $1 that you commit to every month. It could even be $1 that you commit to every month. So it's just $12 for the year. It might seem like it's a throwaway amount of money for you, but it actually will help build someone's capacity to be able to withstand, the difficulties that they face, whether that be health crises or famine or COVID-19.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're all guilty of making stupid purchases, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at our budgets and you say, oh, I spent money on this, I spent money on that. And to what you're saying about recurring payments, there's that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a hadith about giving with your right hand that your left hand doesn't even know.
Right.
Isn't that recurring payments, right?
Yeah, that is.
Every month you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I gave $1 to Penny Appeal. And so it's an opportunity to honor that. Put in $1, put in $5, put in $10. It's not, no amount is too little or too much. It's about that consistent support.
Yes.
And literally every amount you give is going towards building communities. And that's something to be really, really proud of and really worth celebrating.
Thank you so much, Aman. And just to, kind of to wrap up, the Prophet ﷺ also, we have a hadith from Aisha radiallahu anha that the Prophet ﷺ really valued something that was small and consistent, rather than, dropping, like mad stacks, for example, one time and then sort of just forgetting about it. No, doing something consistent where you're doing good, and even if it's a small amount of good, that's the beautiful thing, because that shows character, that consistency.
Absolutely. First of all, people haven't used mad stacks in 11 years, so you just dated yourself. But yes, absolutely, it's that consistency that goes along with it.
My husband says to me all the time. But because you don't know anything about stacks on stacks. Thanks, Aman. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
And your sad, sad room. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Getting out of prison as soon as possible. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. Are you in New York, Aman, right now?
I'm in New York. I'm in the thick of it.
Oh my God.
Penny Appeal is doing great work even here in New York. All this humanitarian work they've been doing in the U.S.
They just partnered with Islamic Relief and Imana, which is Islamic Medical Association North America, to drop 500,000 PPE to hospitals in New York, New Orleans, and Chicago, some of the hardest hit.
I saw that, and we can't thank you all enough for all the support that you've done in New York and all across the country. And these are really, really tough times, and it's something to be really proud of, to be a Muslim, to see people really, really step up to help their sisters and brothers.
And be mercy to all of humanity in the most beautiful prophetic traditions. Thank you so much, Aman, for your time.
No problem.
And I hope to be touring with you one day again soon.
One day, we'll see.
Stay safe.
I shall, the same.
Assalamu alaikum. So, we're so lucky to hear from people like Aman, like Osama, and we're going to be hearing from our big speaker, our most beloved Imam Khalid Latif, in just a few moments. I just want to talk about kind of the power of giving. Why is giving important? Because obviously our intent is what matters. We are intending to support the people who are the most vulnerable. We know that is the most prophetic thing that you can do, to help the most vulnerable in humanity, whether they be of any race, color, background, religion. And that's what this is about. And that's a big portion of why we're here today. But I want to kind of highlight now what giving does to you. what kind of transformative experience happens to you and to your future and to your destiny when you do give. So I want to just start off by a very quick story from me, and then to tell you kind of the DMs that I receive in my Instagram, because I've been blessed enough to fundraise for Penny Peel USA all across the nation. And I get different stories from people, and I just want to share them with you. So I first, I kind of tell this story when I do go and fundraise all over the nation. I first sort of experienced giving and what giving could do when I was just a college student. I was a sophomore in college. I was in college on a scholarship. I worked 2 jobs. It was a very big deal. I was trying my best to keep up with my book costs. And Imam Siraj al-Hajj came to our school, and he was collecting money for a devastating earthquake that happened in Pakistan. And what was incredible about that experience is that it was a room full of students. It was a room full of students who were uncertain about their future, who had really no real income to speak of. Kind of probably like some of you who are listening right now. And I want to reiterate what Aman is saying. No amount that you give is too small. No, it actually weighs heavy. If you've got one piece of bread in your hand, you break it in half and you give half of that, that is more weighty in the eyes of God than if you had a mountain of food and you gave away a crumb or gave away half a piece of bread to somebody. So I remember Imam Siraj al-Hajj saying to us, I want you to give in this room. I want everybody in this room to give. And I really hope that everyone here in this crowdcast does give. And I was like hoping that he was not going to look at me. I was sitting in a corner of the room, and he said, I want you to give until it hurts, to give until you're broken. And I was like, well, I'm broke. Like, what does he mean by that? I hope he doesn't mean me, because I got no money, man. And he said, I want everyone here to give until their fear is broken, their ego is broken, their lack of sincerity and truth in their faith and belief in God's promise that their wealth will never decrease, till that is broken. I was like, oh my God, he really is going to make all of us give. And he made everyone in that room give $1,000. Now, I remember I was one of the last hands to go up for the $1,000. I had never seen $1,000 in my life. And I remember it took me 1.5 years to pay off the $1,000 pledge that I made. 1.5 years. And I remember when I made the last payment, I had lost this very large scholarship called the Truman Scholarship. I was like a finalist. I didn't make it. And I didn't know how I was going to go to grad school. And I knew that my degrees were not enough to get me, a real job that would be able to support me. And I remember, just making the last payment and feeling so proud of finally finishing this promise that I made before God. And then I get a phone call, and they're like, is this Yasmin Elhady? I'm like, well, that's what, Caucasians call me. Yeah, this is Yasmin Elhady, yes. They said, okay, well, your professor sent off your exam to us, and, I just want you to know that you have this offer to do your master's if you want, at the American University in Cairo. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, it's paid for, and we just wanted to see if you'd be willing to go. I was like, yeah, please, yes, sign me up. And I believe that it was a direct result of that blessing. And when I went off to school to do my graduate fellowship, I remember I was there and I didn't know what I was going to do for law school. I really wanted to go to law school. And I remember going to sleep, having the dream. And the dream was of Siraj al-Hajj, all in white, beautiful man, may Allah preserve him. And guess what? I found out, I got an email, hey, by the way, you have a full scholarship to go to law school. I was like, what? And then it would later on be that I would have the same dream of Imam Siraj al-Hajj saying, give until you break a little bit. Give until you're broken. Give until it hurts, until you're in pain just a little bit. When you feel that pain, you know that giving is coming from a place of sincerity. And I remember getting a phone call. You've got, your master's covered to go to Princeton. And I really believe that $1,000 donation that I made in a time of intense need and intense uncertainty turned into an over $300,000 investment because of Allah's blessing. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he came to us to seek, the humanity's sort of buy-in to the idea that service was so important. And the Qur'an came to explain to us how important that service is. And a part of that service is to give. A part of that service is always to give, but especially in times of difficulty. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ali Imran in ayah 92, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will not achieve righteousness. You will not achieve the righteousness in your faith and upstandingness in your character until you give of which you love. So I did my pitch one time in a different city, metropolitan city here in the United States, and there was a woman in the audience, and she ended up DMing me actually, and she told me she was super inspired by me because I was divorced, and then I remember I gave and I asked Allah for a very specific dua for another chance at love, and God brought my current husband, who's been an incredible mercy in my life. And she wrote to me, she said, look, I'm divorced. It was a really difficult divorce. My parents weren't supportive of it because they didn't want the stigma about being divorced to happen to our family, but I had to leave. It was abusive, and I gave today, and I really gave, and I have nothing to give. I came out of this divorce completely broke, and I just want another chance at love. I said, may God bless you and give you manifold blessings and help you, have ease in your life in this time of difficulty. And she would actually end up coming to one of my other shows like a year later. She comes to my show and she says, hey, it's me. She grabs my arm. Hey, it's me. I'm the one who DM'd you. I was like, oh, hey. She said, I just want you to know, not only did I get remarried, but I got remarried in Mecca. I had my Katb Kitab done in front of the Kaaba. And she sent me pictures to show me. Look at how beautiful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here in this ayah, right? It's saying that you're not going to attain birr, that righteousness, the closeness to me, until you give of what you love. And subhanAllah, not only did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfill her dua, he fulfilled her deepest desire, and right in the depths of her heart, he also drew her so close to him that he brought her to his home. He brought her to his house to fulfill that prayer that she made from a place of sincerity. And I want to now just introduce a video to show you firsthand where your donations are going for the Heal Humanity campaign, so that you can see the life-saving work that this is doing in Bangladesh, in Palestine, in Burundi, in Somalia, and so that we can all, inshallah, hopefully together share in the blessing of tonight and all of Ramadan.
In these uncertain times, our goal at Penny Appeal USA is simple: to help heal humanity. We believe that no one should go without proper care, and we are working hard to save lives from sickness and disease around the world. You'll find us in the wake of an emergency, responding to a pandemic that comes without notice and wreaks havoc on everyone in its path. You'll find us in refugee camps where families have been forgotten, and in remote parts of the world where people seek a better life. Penny Appeal USA is committed to working with you to transform communities by making healthcare accessible to everyone. That's why today we're in Syria sanitizing refugee camps and providing hygiene training to help protect the most vulnerable from COVID-19. It's why we're in Bangladesh running health clinics that have treated tens of thousands of Rohingya refugees. It's why we're in Somalia and Sudan, where we've built clinics and are sending life-saving medical supplies so that patients don't have to travel long and perilous journeys for treatment. It's why we're in Palestine, supporting the only neonatal unit in the country, caring for prematurely born babies and giving them a chance at life they never would have had. It's why we need your support now more than ever, so that together we can give more people that chance at life that they wouldn't have had without you. And what a gift to give this Ramadan. Our world may look different today, but our mission has not changed. Wherever there is pain, we aim to comfort. Wherever there is loss, we aim to rebuild. Wherever humanity is hurting, we aim to heal. Join us in healing humanity this Ramadan.
Thank you for that powerful video from Penny Appeal USA. And the price points where we are asking today for consistent donations are here on the screen. At $12,000, which is $1,000 a month, which is less than rent in places, you can rent, hopefully, a room for yourself in Jannah, in heaven. by giving someone the opportunity to have medical equipment that is life-saving, whether that be the fantastic incubators that you saw in the hospitals, in the neonatal unit in Palestine, or, for example, ventilators. These are the medical equipment that are necessary to be able to give someone another chance at life. And hopefully all of you will be able to share in the blessing of saving that person's life. It's at just $1,000 a month. The next level is at $6,000 for patient monitors to make sure that hospital staff are aware of someone who's in critical condition who needs an intervention immediately at just $500 a month. After that, it's at $1,200 for surgical supplies, which is just $100 a month, which is the price of like a triple play, for Verizon. Instead, you could donate that to hopefully give hospitals the opportunity to be able to have clean and sterile and appropriate surgical supplies to save people's lives. And at $600, it's for medication. So, if you're in Burundi or Somalia and you finally made your way to a hospital to be able to get medical attention, the medications that you need, to be able to survive, maybe you can't purchase them. Well, look at this. You can make someone's life different by just $50 a month to help them get their diabetes medication, their heart medication, their blood pressure medication, perhaps their cholesterol medication, whatever they need to be able to survive, or protection against COVID-19. And finally, at $360, which is just $30 a month, $1 a day, you can help someone have PPE, protective gear, not just abroad, but also here in the United States, in Pakistan, in Syria, in Mozambique, in Bangladesh and Pakistan, and all the areas that we help hospitals and individuals have protective equipment. So I just want to, also just reiterate here, you guys, other stories. This other woman was inspired by a story that I told where I was unemployed for 10 months. And I remember having to give and having to sell some of my items to be able to give. And she was inspired by that. She had been unemployed for several months, her and her husband. And so she DM'd me after I did a fundraising picture. She said, I gave today and I had to sell one of my items to be able to give today. And I wanted you to know that, I want you to know what will happen. I will keep you updated. And 2 weeks later, she DM'd me and told me that she got a job that paid twice as much as her first job that she lost. Her husband was so inspired by that he ended up giving, and he ended up with a job. I can't remember if it was 3 weeks later or a month later, he also ended up with a job. But it reminded me of the story of Zakaria in Surah Al-Imran, where he sees Sayyidatna Maryam alayhi salam. She's a very righteous woman, and she has all these beautiful blessings from God. She's got fruit that's out of season. And Zakaria, when he sees this, he drops to his knees. He immediately makes dua to Allah. He says, oh Allah, if you can give Maryam fruit out of season, maybe you can give me and my wife a child when we're both sort of out of season. They were both advanced in age. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he answered Zakaria alayhi salam's call, and he gave him Yahya alayhi salam, their beautiful son. And I know what it might seem like a really tough ask to give, to say $1,000 a month or $500 a month or $100 a month or $50 a month, $30 a month, or even $12 a month. But I am telling you that this investment that you're making is not just going to go on deaf ears. It's an investment that's going to make a difference. It's going to build communities, like Aman Ali so beautifully said, but it's also going to hopefully build an entire future for you. Now, remember, if you're in the United States and you're listening right now, you're watching this, you have internet, hey guys, you won the jackpot. You're like in the top 1% of humanity on earth, of the human population. But you will be asked about that blessing that you're in, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Takathur, ثُمَّ لَا تُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ ثُمَّ لَا تُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. Look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using two literary devices in Arabic to show emphasis. ثُمَّ لَا. The la here is of tawkid, to make sure. ثُمَّ, verily, indeed, you will be asked about the blessing that you're in. Remember that the security that you're in, the ability to have a home, the ability to have internet, the ability to be able to breathe clean air and to be able to seek medical attention, those are all blessings. Those are all wealth. That is something that you will be asked about. Those are all blessings that you'll be asked about. And I hope, inshallah, that we can answer and we can answer Allah's call, and that we can answer the people who are most in need their call, because That's so important. The link is just at the bottom. It's the donate today button, pausa.org/heal. And if you're on any other live streaming service and you don't have this button on Crowdcast, just know you can go to pausa.org/heal to be able to give and hopefully not only transform someone else's life, but to transform your own. And I believe this, and it's just incredible because other people, they couldn't get in medical school, for example, and then they DM me. They got into their top medical school choice because they gave, and they gave when it was a time where they were most vulnerable. For example, other people, their parents were sick. They gave, and they asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal their parents, and their parents were healed. I mean, just incredible stories. But God, He is the author of the most incredible stories. And I want to now introduce an incredible man, the executive director and chaplain at ICNYU, the Islamic Center of the University of New York, and somebody who has been on the front lines, like Osama Mezwi so artfully explained, that really he has lent his time, his energy, his health to be able to support the people who are most in need. And we are so excited to hear from you today, Imam Khalid Latif. And hopefully afterwards, we can talk a little bit about how people can support your work, for example, in New York.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Sorry, I think I logged in as you were finishing your statement, so I didn't catch the end of it, but it's so nice to see you, Yasmin.
So nice to see you, Khalid. It's been a long time, my friend. Alhamdulillah, I hope you're safe. And you're safe.
Inshallah, everything is, it's what you've probably seen and heard. New York is in a very difficult place right now, but make dua for us. A lot of things easy for us, inshallah.
I mean, we're so excited to hear from you tonight. I was just talking a little bit about the power of giving and how it's very transformative for people, and how I myself have experienced such huge shifts in my future trajectory in ways that I could have never imagined by giving.
SubhanAllah. Yeah. It's, do you want me to get started?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I want to stop talking. I want to hear you talk.
Oh, man. And just so everyone knows, I think your fingernails are amazing, Yasmin.
Thank you so much for noticing.
Well done. Well done.
These are just press-ons, you guys. Allah is more important than looking good. They just pop right off, guys.
Drop knowledge all the time.
Okay. It was important, yo. All right.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Bismillah walhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him, we praise Him, we glorify Him. We beseech Him to send His choicest salutations upon His most beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and upon all those who choose to tread in His path until the last day. On one occasion, a gift of a goat comes to the home of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is a gift. It's not sadaqah, it's not zakah, it's not charity in any of its forms, so he can fully take from it whatever it is that he wants to. But rather than indulging in it for himself, he begins to distribute its parts to his companions who are more in need, until all of it is gone except its shoulder. And to understand the magnitude of this, you have to look at hadith not in isolation from one another, but see how they make an entire life that this beautiful man lived, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That we have narrations in the prophetic tradition that tell us that days would go by without a flame being lit in the house of the Prophet of God, peace be upon him, because he had no food to cook on the fire. We have narrations that tell us that he would strap rocks to his waist at times to balance himself out from the sheer weight loss that he had, and also to silence the pangs of hunger that he didn't have food to silence with. And now when a gift of a goat comes to his home and he could take from it whatever he wants to, rather than indulging in it for himself, he starts to give it to people who have even less than he does. And his wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha, she comments on this. And she says, all of it is gone but its shoulder. That none of it is there for us except its shoulder. But the Prophet Muhammad, he does not see the world in this way. He doesn't see what it is that he has lost, but he sees where his gain is attached to others' gain. That it's not about what is the most apparent of detriments, but where the benefit is in a more broader sense. And when his wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha, says that none of it is there for us except its shoulder, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that, Ya Aisha, all of it is there for us but its shoulder. Such a beautiful way to see the world. And I pray that inshallah ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal endows each one of us with a similar vision when we look into this world. The fundamental purpose of a conversation like this is not necessarily rooted in discourse about serving the other, the beneficiary alone. That there are so many hadith that give us indication as to why we have to be there for people in their times of need for their sake. But there's also so much written in the hadith literature, in the Qur'an, that speaks about the importance of giving and what an individual will gain themselves for giving. And this is not in contrast or contradiction to the fundamental selflessness that Islam as a religion calls its practitioner towards. Then it's not telling you that you should give so you should gain in the sense of what we understand gain to be. But there's so much that is deeply embedded in the idea that the one who is actually being benefited the most from your giving is you more than anyone else. And it's hard at times for us to wrap our heads around that. The people that we seek to help, by no means are they helpless. And I have been in conflict zones. I have been in refugee camps. I've been in the aftermath of natural disasters in different parts of the world. I've stood with people who have fled genocide and ethnic cleansing. Watched as people have literally pulled all of what remains of their belongings from homes that have been bombarded with rainfall that you can't even imagine the rain could fall like that. I've had mothers try to hand me their children when they know that I am from the United States. And when I tell them that there's no possible way that I can take them, even if I wanted to, they won't let me leave the country with your child. And they'll say that if you do not take my child, it is just a matter of days that either I will witness my child pass away in front of my eyes, or my child will see me pass away, and then consequently they will pass away because there will be no one to look after them. So you need to take them so that at least I know they will be safe. And I can tell you that giving will bring a means of support to all of these people. But within the confines of Ramadan, in the backdrop of pandemic, may Allah make it easy for all of us. You want to be able to know why giving is more for you, for me, when we give than anyone else. Because you don't want to have the heart that knows that somebody is in need and you are still not helping them in their time of need. You don't want to be embodied in such a way where the nafs is so tyrannical that it dictates your deeds and decisions and tells you to think about your wants before someone else's needs. And so there's a reiteration within the prophetic tradition, within the verses of the Qur'an that tell us about our gains and what we will result in from our giving. Because fundamentally, the transformative process takes place within here. And I want you to think about it. And I say it with real love for each and every one of you. What would somebody have to look like for you to not be there for them? What country would they need to come from? How much money would they need to not have? What would the color of their skin need to be? What kind of accent would they need to have? Would they need to be of your faith or a different faith? But what would somebody need to be as an individual to somehow be outside of the folds of our assistance towards them? How we see people doesn't necessarily tell us simply about them and who they are, but how we see people tells us a lot about ourselves. New York City, where I live, is at the epicenter of this pandemic. May Allah make things easy. And I can tell you that difficulty like this, what it does more so than anything else, is that it gives us opportunity for understandings through what it reveals. And the revelations from COVID-19 are not anything other than the most important things for us to really think about. Because there's been revelations of real beauty, real goodness. Individuals who stand on the front lines meeting this virus day in and day out, where I literally have no idea what kind of iman, what kind of faith they possess, that despite the hardship of what they have absorbed of illness and sickness and grief and anxiety and death every day, they still wake up the next day to meet it head on, knowing that it would pose full risk to themselves, but understanding that they are a necessary component in the healing of somebody else's life and existence. And they live through their actions the idea that one life saved is like all of mankind. That in my community alone, that I'm blessed to serve at the Islamic Center at New York University, we have had over 75 people who have either lost loved ones or have passed themselves as a direct result of the coronavirus. And may Allah raise them from the shuhada. 4 of those, at least, are doctors who contracted it while they were trying to save other people's lives. It's a revelation of real goodness, real beauty. And we can juxtapose that with a revelation of real greed and real selfishness on the part of individuals who have hoarded goods for themselves, those who do not honor the rights of their workers and staff and compel them to go and perform duties so that they can still gain in their own income, while they as workers have no choice, because they will either be able to work and make money or not have money to buy food for themselves and their families. That when they do not work, they do not get anything at all. The greed of electeds and policymakers, governmental apparatus that seeks to protect and privilege the majority and the select few within them. And we see a third revelation of how elements of race and class still dictate who has and who has not. And it's not just from the last week or month or even year, but since the very inception of the country that we're in. But the most important revelation that we gain from this is a revelation of ourselves. That we see who it is that we are based off of what our response has been. And where we can pull from all of these other examples, we can decide within that who it is that we would like to become. The paradoxical nature of humanity is that within each one of us as human beings is the capacity for immense good. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that we have made you in the most beautiful of forms. But within it, the paradox exists that from us can also be immense ugliness. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Then you fall to the lowest of the low. May Allah protect us from it. And it's moments like this where we don't see our isolation as something that is preventing us, but something that enhances us, that we have opportunity to be people who can still stay where we are, situated, distancing ourselves, but still be a catalyst for real change and real hope for so many who are in need of it. And when we're talking about the need to heal humanity, the ailments and illnesses that we discuss are not just necessarily those that are external, but those that are very much so internalized. Ailments and illnesses that create vision modifiers and blocks for us, that tell us that egocentricity is the way to be, and that selfishness is somehow what will give us the most gain. But as my sister Yasmin has told us, the gain is not for the other. It is for us more than anyone else, that Allah's promise is true. When you give, it will not decrease anything, but it increases not just what is tangible, it increases also what is within and what's internal. In New York City, where I live, there are people right now who are in hospitals that I know, doctors that they have spoken to, that when they are going to get intubated, they say to the doctor first, how much will this cost? Because they are more worried about the expense they will have to cover from having inadequate healthcare coverage than the pain that they feel from COVID-19. There are landlords in New York City who have forgiven rent for hundreds of tenants in their buildings, mashallah. And there are those who have been approached by their tenants, women, females, who will say that we don't have any money to pay our rent. And their male landlords will say that if you can't pay me with money, pay me with physical intimacy. May Allah protect us from this. There are individuals in the thousands who in these nights of Ramadan have no food to break their fast on throughout New York City. Individuals who have the difficult reality of trying to determine which of their children they will give what little provision they have and which ones they will see just starve. I want you to think about if that's happening in New York City, in the middle of the United States, in the year 2020, what do you think is happening in communities all across the world? What do you think is happening to people who are in financial difficulty, financial struggle prior to all of this? And where and how will you see yourself as a means, as a mechanism to help in the process of healing? It is an introspective question because you and I have to determine first and foremost who it is that we want to be. I don't want to be that person who gains from the dunya at the expense of losing from my akhirah. A bank account that is filled with wealth when I am in turn directly then one who suffers from spiritual poverty. That my pursuit of meaning and purpose becomes something that is thrown on the shelves and all I want is more and more and more and more. And nothing satiates the nafs when it is in control. But there's so much right now that can be done. The openings are there. We just have to decide whether we're going to take them or not. And I want to tell you a story that echoes the sentiments that, as my sister Yasmin was talking, I was reminded of. Where I had gone out to see Rohingya refugees when the border was first opened between Bangladesh and Myanmar some years ago. May Allah make things easy for them. And when I had come back, I had told people about what was going on and all of the impact that was happening on the ground. And there are Rohingya refugees in our country as well. 1,400 are in Chicago. People are in other pockets of the world, and they are in the country. And there are other refugees demographics throughout the United States that need our assistance even now. When I came back, there's a woman in my community who I've known for some time that is quite old. And for 11 years, she saved her money to go for Hajj. And in those 11 years, she took a little bit out of her paycheck every single time she got it and saved $11,000 to go for Hajj that year. And then she gave me that $11,000, saying that there's no way she can go on this journey knowing that these young children and women are struggling in the ways that they are. And I want you to hold that thought for a moment as I tell you the story of a man who's a great scholar in our religion's history by the name of Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he is once asleep at the Kaaba. And in his dream, he sees two angels talking about all of the pilgrims that went for Hajj that year, 600,000 Hujjaj. And the one angel says to the other that how many people's pilgrimage do you think will be accepted this year? And they come to the conclusion, the other says that nobody's Hajj is getting accepted this year. And then the other says that because of the Hajj of one man, everybody else's Hajj is going to be accepted. And they give the description of a cobbler from Sham. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he wakes up and he wants to know who this cobbler is. So he sets forth and goes all the way to Sham, and the description that he receives in his dream, by that he asks questions and he ends up at the house of the man. And his name is known, his reputation is known, but people are not able to recognize him by his face. And so he does not announce who it is that he is. And the cobbler, honoring the rights of the guests, let him in. And Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he engages him in conversation, and he notices that whenever he gets to the place of Hajj, that the man changes the topic. And they go in this way for some time until Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he says to the cobbler that, look, I am Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, and I had this dream, and they said that everyone's Hajj was accepted because of your Hajj. So tell me about your Hajj. And the cobbler says to him that, yeah, Sheikh, I don't know what to say to you. I can't tell you what my Hajj experience was like because I didn't even go for Hajj this year. And the cobbler now starts to tell Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak about a neighbor that he has. And he said, I had saved my money to go for this Hajj. I put it away so I could make this pilgrimage. And then one day I went to my neighbor's home and I noticed that when he let me in, he was a little bit anxious. And I didn't pay it too much mind, but I started to think about how strange it was that he wasn't offering me any food or drink. And as the day got later and went on and it got closer to the time of dinner, I noticed they got even more anxious, yet still there was no invitation. Until finally my neighbor said to me that, look, you cannot have a meal with us. That we are so stricken by poverty and financial hardship that our dinner tonight is the carcass of a donkey that I found in the streets that my wife is making for my family and I. That for us in our situation, it is not haram for us. But for you, it would not be permissible for you to eat. And so the cobbler, he tells Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak that I was hungry too, Sheikh. But my poverty was out of my own decision. I was saving money to go for Hajj. My neighbor, his poverty was not out of his own volition. It was not voluntary, it was involuntary. There would be no way I could go on that journey knowing that his family was in the situation that they were in. So I went to my home and I gathered up all of my belongings, the money that I had saved for the Hajj, and I gave it to my neighbor who was in need. And Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he says to this cobbler that this is why your Hajj is the reason that everyone else's Hajj was accepted. He didn't even need to go for Hajj, but the sincerity of his intention was so pure that it was enough for the maghfirah of God to shower upon everybody so that they would be blanketed in acceptance of Hajj that they would not otherwise have rendered that type of acceptance. And now when this woman came to me and she gave me this $11,000, she said to me that I know I'm not going to be able to save this kind of money again. Given my age and given how much I make, it would take me way too long to be able to do it. She gave me that check without any hesitation, purely with love for the ones that she was giving it to. And in the week following that interaction, I told people of this woman, and 3 different individuals came to me and said, we want to pay for her to go for Hajj. But also in that campaign, we raised $1 million in relief funds. And there's no part of me that believes anything other than it is because of the sincerity of that beautiful woman's gift. And I made dua that, Ya Allah, give me a heart that's like that is willing to give in such a way. Give me a heart that is like that is not selfish and greedy, and simply does not do what I have the capacity to do because I just don't want to do it. But give me the heart that aspires towards beauty. And Allah's promise is true, my sisters and brothers. Hal jaza'ul ihsani illa al-ihsan. And since that time, when that sister made that piece of earth testify to that goodness, and the barakah came, the different openings that have been there for the community I serve to be a source through which Allah feeds his creation, clothes his creation, gives shelter to his creation, they haven't stopped. Since this pandemic, we have partnered with Penny Appeal to help people who are in financial need in the United States. And in a month or so's time, we have raised over $1 million with Penny Appeal to support the amazing work that they do. Their professionalism, their excellence, their beauty, their ihsan is something that we want to jump on and try to harness for ourselves. That they fulfill communal obligation in supporting others on our behalf. I want you to have a heart that's like that. And I want you to want to have a heart that's like that. There are so many right now who are not doing well. There are so many right now who also could care less. People who are so driven by just what it is that they want and they need and their gains, regardless of what it might cost someone else. But do it differently tonight. That if you are here with us, make sure you give whatever it is you can. It will go a long way in helping people to simply live. And where, in fact, we can make that difference. To be elevated to a maqam where we become a source of benefit and healing for others. What else would you really want to stand in front of Allah with? And I could tell you, you might not ever see the people that you help. You might not ever get to stand in front of them. But those are du'as that you don't want to be without. Those are moments that you don't want to let somebody else have in their books when you are standing in front of God. That the opportunity came, the invitation was there. But what else was it that you were really trying to put your wealth and your money into? I wish that I could show to you the kind of grief that people are going through, who are not even able to stand in prayer over their deceased ones that they love, let alone spend time with them in hospitals as they take their last breaths because of restrictions put on visitors in these days. I wish I could show you the faces of people who are given just basic necessities that otherwise they would not be given if we didn't give what we had capacity to give tonight. So inshallah ta'ala, please give what you can and give more. It will really make such a difference. And the gain, I promise to you, is going to be more for you than for anybody else. You want to have the heart that compels the rest of your body to do right simply because it's the right thing to do. To not take cues from those who are selfish, but to aspire towards those who are selfless, and to live beauty, to live your faith, to live your deen, to live your Islam. To be in a space where you recognize all the capacity that you have. When you give your light to someone else, not only does it create light for them, but it creates more light for you. And when that illumination comes, it can push away so much darkness. So I pray, inshallah ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal makes each one of us the reason that people have hope in this world, and never the reason that people might dread it. That we serve as a reminder that mercy, love, compassion, and hope do in fact exist. And that we keep going and we keep giving and we keep striving and we keep moving. Because that's what the world needs right now. So please do give what you can and give more. Inshallah ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal will continue to make you a source of benefit for His creation.
Ameen.
Allah protect our brothers and sisters at Penny Appeal and make them a continued source of benefit as well. Wallahu ta'ala alim wa billahi tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ameen to your beautiful dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you lots of illuminations and light in your path, inshallah, to do good, to serve humanity in the way that is prophetic and that is a mercy for all of mankind. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you and me and all of the people who are hopefully tuning in the heart of Abdullah ibn al-Malik, al-Mubarak, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, and as well as this woman that you described in your community who has just totally just broken all of those ties in her heart to anything that's not true and that is not sincere and that is not generous. And that kind of spirit, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give her manifold blessings beyond her imagination.
Ameen.
Thank you so much, Imam, and we wish for your safety above all else, your safety, the safety of your wife and your children. We ask Allah to give you also the strength to be able to lead in such difficult circumstances, because it truly reveals character. You've always kind of been at the eye of the storm, so Allah loves you, whether it be 9/11, whether it be with this, and all of the stuff with ISIS that happens, and then of course this COVID-19. You're at the center, so may Allah give you fortification and shower upon you more love.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this tonight. Inshallah, you all raise a lot of funds, and for those who are listening, please do fulfill what it is that you came here tonight to be a part of. Inshallah, Allah will give you more blessing through it. Inshallah.
And maybe you just caught the program just to see Imam Khalid Latif, and you didn't know going to be Imam Khalid Latif asking you to give any money. But if even your smallest donations, they will weigh heavy, inshallah, on the scales. Inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Imam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Take care.
So, we have limited time, and I know that you guys want to eat on the West Coast. I'm going to put on our lovely brother Faisal Latif for the final nasheed that he's going to be performing, as well as a spoken word piece. But I want to make sure that you donate at the bottom here, pausa.org/heal, pausa.org/heal, and for us to be like those role models that are in our communities, that have been in our past, in our history, so that hopefully the sincerity that you give will actually protect the entire community. And hopefully, like the beautiful story of Abdullah ibn Malik ibn Mubarak, I keep messing up his name, I'm sorry, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak will hopefully lead an entire community's sins to be forgiven and for their good deeds to be accepted. Are you there, Faisal Latif? Are you there? Do I see you? Are you in Tampa via online? Not yet. No technical difficulties with Faisal Latif. Is Faisal Latif eating? That's probably what he's doing. He is munching. He is eating as we speak. He's drinking water. No, I'm just kidding. He's coming. He's actually on the East Coast, so he's already done eating. But he's probably having dessert right now. For our West Coast brothers and sisters, I'm sorry that you're listening to me, and it's so close to iftar time. It's like uncomfortably close. I want you guys to just have just a little reminder, which is that for the anticipation that you're feeling right now, for this kind of you're at the edge of your seat to break your fast. Think about all the people who are at the edge of their seat to seek some type of life-saving intervention and can't receive it. People who are at the edge of their seat to bring their child into that neonatal unit at the Maqasid Hospital in Palestine, just so that their baby may have a chance, and are unable to give that baby a chance. You can do that today, very easily today, at pausa.org/heal. Salam, Faisal. I haven't been so happy to see you in a long time, my friend.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Cake? Were you somewhere eating cake?
I was eating. I didn't have cake, but I already had dessert, so kind of worried about how I'm gonna sing because I'm stuffed.
Your singing is our dessert. Let's go.
Bismillah. All right.
People are trying to eat. Let's wrap it up. Let's do this.
Bismillah. Bismillah. There's still people that haven't had iftar. Okay.
Yeah.
On the West Coast. Oh, okay. She's still here. All right. Bismillah. So I'm gonna begin with a nasheed, inshallah. That's not out there yet. It's called Holding On, and this is an original, inshallah. I don't know why I'm saying inshallah. It is an original. Inshallah, it'll be out soon. And we're going to begin with this piece and end with a spoken word, inshallah. Here we go. Bismillah. I can feel the world upon my shoulders. And I can feel the pain is taking over. I need some directions to remind me. 'Cause right now I'm just feeling kinda hopeless. I'm holding on to your rope, but it feels I'm about to let go. Deep in my heart there's hope. You're the one I need. Please hear me. Myself I'm wronging. I've grown so weak. Please hear me. There's nothing worldly that can satisfy me. You're all I need. You're all I need. I thought life was good doing what I want, but it came back and hit me like a giant storm. Took away the feeling deep in my heart. Now I got pain stretching out of my lungs. But God is always at reach. And now my soul is at ease. You didn't give up on me. You set me free. That is Holding On. It's an original, not yet released. Inshallah, it'll be released soon. And the final piece that I'm going to end with, I think due to time, I don't know, I'm not sure how much time I have, but here we go. This piece is called Intent, okay? And it is a conversation that takes place with me often, very often. And it's something that can be related to anybody who does any sort of work that is, you know, maybe recognized publicly, or it could be something as simple as you doing a good deed, or in this case, us giving for our brothers and sisters, donating whatever it is that we possibly can. So here we go. Bismillah. This is called Intent. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Is it the pleasure of people focused on a temporary feat? Is my mind in the heart? Is my mind in the right place? Heartbeat after heartbeat. Have I wasted too many minutes? Is my clock aimlessly on repeat? See, I fear showing up on that day, having lived my own deceit, being among those who are destined, having deeds only worthy of the heat. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Do I steal from my actions? Am I my own thief? Will I be from the rewarded, or a means of my own defeat? If this is my reality, to miss out on your divinity, then I beg you now, my Lord, take this fame away from me. 'Cause see, I'm a superficial slave. I only remember you when I struggle, when the world's got me down and I'm feeling hurtful. I haven't cared at all of how neglectful my heart has become superficial. See, I opened 2 gifts this morning. They were my eyes. You had mercy on me. So now I realize you returned my soul this morning, even though my heart hasn't been alive. You gave me another chance. So now I fantasize of being close to you for eternity and beholding you with these very eyes. But see, the struggle is real. Consciousness surreal. My Lord, I know you know how I feel. Please don't ever let this heart be sealed or blind to my madness. You know what I conceal. Please keep me hidden, my sins unrevealed. Teach me sincerity, because from my deeds I don't want to steal. To you, your mercy, love, and guidance do I kneel. And humbling myself to you, only then can I heal. What is your intent? And that is spoken word piece, a little bit of poetry for everybody. Part of my new book coming out soon, inshallah, called Intent. And let that, inshallah, serve as a reminder, firstly from myself, before anybody else. Give whatever it is that you can towards this cause. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from all of us. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases all of us. I pray that He makes it easy for us to give from that which we for our brothers and sisters. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this from the best Ramadan of your from the best Ramadans of your life. I pray that He accepts your dua, your charity, your zakat, your praying, every single thing that you do to strive to go closer to Him. Because this Ramadan, you have two options. You either evolve or you repeat. Let's be from those who evolve, inshallah, and grow closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, increase in our love for Him through loving for our brothers and sisters what we love for ourselves. Ameen.
Ameen. Thank you, Faisal. Beautiful, beautiful dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family. And inshallah, give you everything that you have asked for your brothers and sisters, that an angel be appointed to say Ameen for you. Ameen, right back at you, my friend. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also help all of us wrap up, because we know that our brothers and sisters on the West Coast need to eat. We love y'all. Make sure you donate. Right before this is a special time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to the dua of the person who's about to fast.
Yes.
So make a very intent-driven, purposeful dua and donate. Right? Make something that it's the best time. And we hope, Brother Faisal, are you going to donate? Because me and you are both going to donate today. We're going to donate something. We're going to both donate something. I have just volunteered this, brother. We're going to both donate something at PAUSA.
I already donated, actually.
You might need to donate again, Faisal. Maybe one more time.
Let's do it. Bismillah. Because his brothers and sisters breaking their fast now. I'll pretend like that's my last hour before the fast, and I'll donate again.
May Allah also give us, may God give us the blessing of having the ability to complete Ramadan and to see another one, because it's a blessed time. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, all of us. Thank you, all of you, for joining. And from all of us, we say Assalamu alaikum. Bye, guys. I need dessert. I basically need dessert. I'm going to go get a little Debbie snack. Bye. Bye. Salam.